So basically, what I'm going to talk about is strength and mission readiness. My experience in the military is strength is highly overlooked, and especially in airborne. I went airborne, so I don't have to walk everywhere and run everywhere. Turns out we run more and ruck more, so I got the short end of that stick. Our common military physical fitness has good indicators of mission readiness. I don't think so. You do need cardiovascular endurance. Push-ups and sit-ups are great. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but testing them is really a good indicator of strength. I worded this a little different than I wanted to, but cardiovascular health, basically, it allows you to adapt to stimulus better because you can do more work, so therefore you can get more work in and recover better. So I do think running is very important. The whole time I was in the Army, I lifted weights 5 times a week while I was running. I was pretty good in the PT test, but I could complete a lot of my tasks a lot better than my fellow soldiers. So, like Joe said about the pull-ups, there is a direct correlation between your relative body strength and how fast you can run in a sprint. When we worked in Spot Athletics, when we would test athletes, before we even did like a speed test, we would do pull-ups and we would see them, the guy or girl that was doing 5, 10 pull-ups, they would automatically be the fastest person, just every single time. All right, so specificity. A lot of people think if you lift weights, I'm going to get big. My old boss used to say things when people would say, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get bulky. It's kind of like saying, I don't want to play basketball because I don't want to be in the NBA. Unless you're really dedicating time and effort into being big, you're probably not going to get big. I've been lifting weights for 20 years. It took me a long time to get this big. And specificity, to become better at a skill, you must perform that skill. People like me, powerlifters, bodybuilders, strongmen, we spend years training for that specific sport. There's a lot of food involved, a lot of time. And then, so strength and size are the main goals of those sports. And they don't fall under the umbrella of general strength. So when you're training for these and getting size and strength, lifting weights won't necessarily make you bigger, but it will create a neural response which will help your muscles fire better, so you can be more explosive and be stronger without getting that size. Sorry for rambling. I'm a lot of caffeine and a little sleep. So, all right. So general strength, how it applies to mission readiness. We know there's a lot of tasks in the military that require endurance and everything. Rucking, pulling risers if you're going to go airborne. When you're carrying a ruck, you have an 80-pound ruck and a full load, especially when you're in country. You have 210 rounds, 7 magazines. Weapon, you have your vest, which is 50 pounds, unless they've made better ones that are smaller. So being strong is going to be able to help you carry that a lot better than being able to endure it a long time. Strength helps you to do more work. And so also strength is injury prevention. It helps you. You have a lower risk of getting injured when you are stronger because. So does anybody know how fast you fall with a T10 parachute? 22 to 24 feet per second. So when you hit that ground, you're hitting that ground with a lot of force. If you're not strong in your body, you haven't trained your body to take that impact, you have a way higher chance of being injured. So developing strength helps with joint strength, tendon and ligament strength, and it's going to help a lot. Like Joe said, if you're jumping off stuff, and it's going to help tremendously. Especially, so I was a medic, extracting wounded. Litter carries, they're heavy. If you're not strong, you can't pull your buddy off the battlefield, you become an asset. So if you have 5 guys, one goes down, and it takes all the rest 4 of you to carry that person off the battlefield, then you just lost all your culpability. So, and then solving mechanic pushes on the fly. Like I was saying before with artillery, if you guys are going around, you're gonna shoot from the hip, car breaks down, or your Humvee breaks down, you need to do wheel changes and stuff like that. that takes a lot of effort. And you know, being strong is going to help you do that. All right, so we go to creating a bigger engine. So a Lamborghini with the Fiat engine sucks, but a lawnmower with the big block kicks ass, right? So if you know you look great, but you're not strong, and you can't produce force, you can't complete the task that you're doing, then who cares? But you know, it doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds and you can squat 400 pounds. You're able to do a lot more work than somebody else. So what you're trying to do with strength training is you're trying to create a bigger engine, and you're not necessarily trying to, you know, create a better car. You're just trying to put more horsepower into that car, which goes strength to strength unless they result in hypertrophy. So, you know, I have a friend Tiffany, she's 97 pounds, she just squatted 297 pounds last weekend. So she's a small little girl, about this tall, squats almost 300 pounds. I know a lot of guys that can't squat 300 pounds. And you know, she maintains that weight and that's where she competes. So she doesn't get big, but she's strong as hell. So like I said, creating an adaptation to strength, coupled with cardiovascular training, help you move further, faster. So let's go into programming a little bit for the military. When I coach a lot of sports, one of the biggest things I get from athletes is they ask me, you know, should I be doing extra? Should I be, you know, I can only train a lot of athletes twice a week. And I say, should I be doing that extra? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? No, you come in, you train with me, that's your strength training, because you need to focus on the mission at hand, or you need to focus on the sport-specific training. Two to 3 times a week for something that's not a competitive strength sport is plenty. And you know, you keep that cardiovascular, which will help you recover better in between, so you're not dragging ass all day when you're recovering from a weight workout. And so for you guys, 2 to 3 times a week is really all you need. You don't need to be in the gym 4 to 5 days a week. And I like this, you know, you can do it in the morning at PT, an hour. It only takes about an hour. You can get, you know, your whole platoon in there, and you have good coaching, good programming. You guys should be in and out, and it'll be really effective. That's my last point there. All right. So, and while I'm going, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Being strong helps you be a better leader. It really does. You know, strength, I see in athletes all the time. They come in, they're really timid, they don't want to do anything. As soon as they start hitting PRs, and, you know, they're getting stronger, they're getting faster, it's like they turn into a completely different person. And that translates onto their teams. I've seen it in my unit. If you're a stronger person, you go out, you lead from the front, and you're showing these guys and girls that I can do this, and I'm gonna kick ass at doing this. They look up to that and they respect that. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing a leader that can't do something or is too afraid to do something. I've seen that a lot. And you know, that's the thing, strongest lead from the front. When I would do combat lifesaver courses, you know, when I would do EFMB and all that stuff like that, as a medic, the best leaders with the soldiers that always got highest pass rates were the ones doing everything first. They were carrying the litters first, and you know, you can see that confidence from them, and usually they're always studs. They're PT studs, every single one of them. And so I think being strong in the gym definitely helps carry over that. And you know, like I said, Joe, shouldn't be picking up your slack. If you're not strong enough to do something, and you know, then they see that, then it's just, you know, those are bad times. All right.
That's
This before? Oh, did I go back?
no, that's I before your stuff.
Oh. All right. All right. So how to get stronger? What we're gonna go over today is the big 3. We're gonna build strength using complex movements like deadlift, squat, and bench. These are the best bang for your buck exercises. If I could pick one exercise to do for the rest of my life, it would be the deadlift, followed by the squat. But using these different compound movements, you get a lot more CNS response to your nervous system, which helps you to adapt to the strength without necessarily throwing pounds of muscle. Generally, it takes less time to go through these movements, and so you're not spending hours in the gym. You can go and hit a deadlift or a squat for your main movement, do 2 or 3 accessory movements, and you're out of there. So you don't have to spend hours in the gym all the time. And also we're going to go over the safety of them, because the big thing that I see that really drives me crazy is people doing this stuff improperly, and it's rampant on the internet. A lot of people, they create injuries by doing these wrong. So it's really important as you guys as leaders to know how to do these movements and be able to help your soldiers coach each other. All right, and that's a big thing we're going to go over, is helping you guys coach each other. That's really important to me. And when me and Joe worked with JL, he was very big on making sure we had athletes coach each other, and knowing how to do different coaching angles and seeing where things are going wrong. It's just something you need to really pick up on. All right, so smaller single joint movements, balance and injury prevention. So running is important in the military, obviously, but strength training will help your running tremendously. When we run, a lot of people think that they neglect their upper body and stuff. They're just like, if I run more, I'll get better, but that doesn't work. So we all just ran more, we get better at it, and we'd all be Prefontaine, but we're not. I know I was when I was in the military. I was actually a pretty terrible runner. So things like having a strong upper body. When you run, if you're slunched over like this, you can't let your diaphragm expand fully, all right? So if you have weak shoulders, weak upper back, weak chest, and you're like this, and you're running, you're not gonna be able to get a full breath of air. If you're up here, shoulders back, your shoulders in a good position, now your diaphragm can expand all the way and you can get more air. Also rotation. If you don't have a stable torso, and you're running like this, that's gonna create a lot of fatigue in your low back, and that's, like you said before, everybody has low back injuries and knee injuries in the Army. I saw them every day in my 8th station, which is kind of annoying. I love everybody come in, they're like, "Doc, my knee hurts." Like, jump out of planes and run every day. And mine hurts too, so I don't know what to tell you. And the other thing too is when you're running, the biggest thing in the military, the biggest injury is shin splints, all right? And one of the biggest causes of that, I was just reading up on it a couple days ago, is imbalances in your quads and hamstrings. So what happens is your knee can't track correctly, your VM is pulling on this side, and so you have a lot of instability, creates a lot of tension in your shins. So the best way you can fix that, get your hamstrings stronger if that's your weakness, get your quads stronger if that's your weakness. What that's going to do is as you hit the ground, you come back like this, if that co-contraction isn't there, where you're hitting it equally, you're going to get a lot of injuries, you're going to get a lot of tracking. So building that strength will help. I didn't coach her, but we had a Olympic she qualified for the Olympic trials, a marathon runner. She came in 3 days a week, trained, lifted heavy. And she did really well. I think she was 2 minutes out of qualifying for the Olympics. And she said that definitely helped her tremendously because she was able to, generate more force as she hit in each foot strike. And, she had a lot more muscular endurance. I think that running would create that muscular endurance, but you have to train both types of muscle fibers. So. All right. Is this a new slide too?
Yeah, I was gonna.
You want?
I think this might be the last one before we go to Alicia's.
Oh, yeah.
And then before Alycia goes over some of the differences between male and female, this is pretty much the stuff Zach just talked about. Squat, pressing, and pulling will help you get better. These are some of the, whether it's the squat, bench, and deadlift, or it's a different variation of those, depending on the equipment you have available, people you're training with, some variation of these 3 movements is going to be what's going to get you better and get you stronger and able to do your job better. Just a couple things before Alycia goes about kind of how to train the strength that Zach's talking about. This is an example of these different rep ranges, and kind of like we've been talking about before was, you know, doing a bodybuilding workout of just doing everything for sets of 12, 15, whatever is not necessarily going to make you stronger. If you look at this chart, it's kind of a good way to see of this rep range here of the 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s. If you're only doing those, it's going to be a little more of the muscle building. You go above that, it's going to be more muscular endurance. You're down in this 3, 4, 5, 6 range, it's going to be more strength and power, which is going to be a lot of what you guys want. Obviously, there's exceptions to those. The reason this is a spectrum is because you're still building some strength up in here, still building some muscle down in here, but generally we want to focus on this kind of range right in here when you're doing your training. And a good way to do that is to pick an effective program. I know we talked a lot about Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 is just a simple, effective program that you can use for your strength training when you just want to get in, get out, get your work done. No matter what program you do, this is essentially what you need to do. Consistently perform a proven program over time. If you do those 3 things, it doesn't need to be perfect, and you'll get better. So whether it's this program, whether it's a different program, whether it's your own program you create, these things are going to be what's going to allow you to get stronger. Consistently performing it, something solid over a period of time. Like we talked about, strength takes more time to build, which is why you need to be consistent. So keep it simple. I mean, all the things Zach just talked about, keeping it simple, you know, stick to your program, and make sure you're mentally invested. So obviously there's going to be things that you have to do that you're not going to like doing, and that's just life. You got to do it. But if you can design training in a way for the people you're supervising that gets them into it, gets them excited, gets them wanting to do it, it's going to make a big difference with how the training goes. A lot of the work that I do with the mental health stuff, look at stress response, and you can see that there's actually 2 people, the same person. So if you had, say, like a clone of the same person, could both do the same exact workout, and if one of them hated it the entire time, and one of them got into it and just put their heart into it, you know, gave it 100%, how they recover from that same workout differs depending on the psychologically how they approached it. And that's why it's important that, obviously, not all training's fun, not everything you guys do is fun that you're going to enjoy, but if you can get yourself psychologically trained to approach these things, to invest in them, the way you even recover from these workouts will be better. You'll recover quicker, you'll be able to do more, you'll be in better condition in that way. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, to add to that, you know, when we work together, one of the biggest things that JL told us about was get the athletes to buy in. So what that means is if, you know, you have a team and they don't believe in what you're saying, chances are you're going to get minimal results. So if you guys are leading a troop, you know, you guys are leading a platoon, whatever, if they don't buy into it, they don't see you putting in the work, they're not going to, it's not going to be effective. They need to see you doing just as much as them. Once they buy in, even if it's the worst written program in the world, you'll probably get better results. The best program, you know, that's actually done and people are motivated to do it, will get, you know, a ton of results. So that's a big thing on that.
A quick question for Zach.
Yeah.
Since you were, you know, medic working in with the gun buddies, so hold that industry. So you get 1 day a week, let's say, to do a strength training program with your element. What do you think would be, for the Army, the way we are now, the most important main movement to go over, and you only have 1 day a week? I know you said you prefer the deadlift. Do you think it's the deadlift, or?
Yeah, I think it is the deadlift because it teaches you how to pick stuff off the ground properly, which, I mean, you're going to be loading a lot of rounds, base plates, you know, picking that thing up off the, depending on the size of the gun, you know, picking it up off the back of the Humvee, well, the trailer hitch off the back of the Humvee. So, or even if you just do go into airborne operations and you have to recover from the field, like, you're gonna have to be able to pick stuff off the ground. And after that, I would say squatting, because those two movements, they require so much of your body that you could just probably squat 3 times a week and you'll get stronger in your upper body. You know, same thing with deadlift. You're gonna get stronger everywhere just by doing that. So that's my personal philosophy. So.
Thank you.
On the previous slide, hypertrophy, could you explain, just define that for us again?
All right, so hypertrophy is basically the growing of muscles. So you have hypertrophy and then atrophy. Atrophy is when the muscles shrink, hypertrophy is when they grow. So doing those rep ranges in the hypertrophy scale, that's basically how you're going to grow muscle. Whereas if you do like power and strength or rep ranges, strength, power, that's more of a central nervous system adaptation versus a muscular adaptation. So that's why, you know, you see a lot of powerlifters are, you know, 181 pounds or something like that, or, you know, women that are 152 that are really, 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 really strong, but they're not necessarily very big.
So you guys have kind of green, gold, and blue up there.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the significance of, say, green versus gold?
It's also the bold as well, like the bold letters of where the rep ranges lie and where that adaptation is occurring. So if you look the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, that's going to be your heavy strength kind of range as well as power. And then hypertrophy is bold and yellow. So if you think the yellow, that's kind of, yes, this is where it's at. This is where the majority of that adaptation is happening.
Sweet spot.
But again, like Joe said, you get a little bit of almost everything in different rep ranges. It's just a matter of how much of one certain one takes over at that point.
Yeah, I'm not used to this chart. I use Perlman's chart, which is basically the same thing, just different. Like it's shown differently. So.
Yeah, the reason I chose that chart is because it kind of shows you, because I think sometimes people try to box it in too much. They'd be like, oh, if you want to get stronger, you only do sets of 3 to 5. And it's like, is that realistic or even the best way to do it? Probably not. I mean, Zach and I, we train for strength, but we do a lot of rep work. And I found personally that I get a lot of strength out of doing things even that moderate rep range. That's why this scale kind of shows you that the yellow, like Alycia said, and the bold is where you're primarily training that ability, but the blue, the purple, the blue, and the green, even though it's less of that ability, it's still getting a little bit. So ideally, when we talk about this big picture program and things getting better, you want a little bit of all of that, which is why I chose that graphic, is because I think it kind of shows you that like it's all necessary, that whole range at some point. So.
Right, and you want to also think about your training. You don't have to be in one box the entire time. You know, so a lot of our training, like yesterday, I had 5 sets of 5 per squat. The rest of it was sets of 12, even 25 at some point. So you can really hit all facets. So you don't have to, like, again, like Joe said, put into a box. They all kind of intertwine. At some point, it can always be incorporated in some way.
Yeah, my philosophy for training too is main movement, train like a powerlifter, accessories, train like a bodybuilder, and then your conditioning is train like a strongman, which is, you know, conditioning work. So strength base for my first movement, which is like a big compound lift. Then any accessory movement, it's in the more hypertrophy area. So I'm getting more reps, get more blood in there, better recovery, get more nutrients to the muscles. And then conditioning, obviously, you have to work all those different energy systems. So. Any other questions? Ask questions, because there's probably stuff, I know I missed a lot of stuff, but so if you have anything you want to know about, I don't even care, you know, say anything. That's really.
And we'll have questions at the end too if you guys think of anything.
Yeah, we'll cool. Moving on. All right. Sweet. Let's talk about women and